What's up, everybody? Back once again doing another NBA preview, and this time it's the Western Conference, and it's the Denver Nuggets versus those Phoenix Suns. Now, Denver was able to handle their business and take out Minnesota uh, in a little bit of a gentleman's sweep. Although at the end there, Timberwolves had a little bit of a shot, but we all knew that it was a foregone conclusion. I was like still wondering, like, I feel like the Nuggets would have won, but wonder how the OKC would have played against them. I think that would have been Edwards is great, but it's just Edwards. But OKC, I feel like had a better shot of trying to take them down. They wouldn't have, but they would have gave it a good shot. Anyway, but then you got the Phoenix Suns, who, even though it was a gentleman's sweep to the Clippers, it surely did not feel that way from seeing every single game. Like, like it's one of those where it's like, gee, if the ball would have just bounced a couple times, and literally a couple of times, because there's a couple of times I can think of where I'm like, if Russ hits that layup, they're either down two or they're ahead two, to where that's a different type of ball game. But you also ain't got your two main stars with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, who helped you win the first game, almost made you win the second game, and you basically are winning with role players essentially versus the stars of Phoenix. And that's why this one I think will probably be 7, and I think the Nuggets will just squeak out. And this is really, to me, like game of stars and supporting cast. Mainly because Phoenix doesn't have a supporting cast in the same way the Nuggets does, but their top end of stars are higher than the Nuggets. But it's really weird that, like, okay, so Phoenix has KD, Booker, Chris Paul, and Aiden of their stars. I was like, I guess Aiden's not a star, but I was like, but he's in their he's really mainly their top four. Everybody else is supporting cast. And on the other side, I guess you will only really call Jokic a star. But I feel like somebody like Murray is somebody that, if he wasn't had to been hurt the last couple of years, would basically be that. And surely enough, Michael Porter getting paid like one. Um, Eric Gordon doesn't have that same shine on him as when he was like for a couple years in Orlando, but all that experience of playing Orlando, being top dude, and then taking the backseat being the fourth dude here, I feel like that doesn't get taken away. And but then you got people like KCP and Bruce Brown and Braun and uh, you got I'm like, hell, they don't even play like some people, like somebody like Reggie Jackson, who just sitting on the bench. Um, so you have a good range of player that you could plug in and go at Phoenix, because I was like Aiden and Jokic. I feel like Jokic is going to eat Aiden up. Aiden hasn't really been like great in this last series. Like how I was like, you probably have to go to when they had a chance for the championship. The last time that Aiden was like top notch, um, and against somebody like the Clipper, where they don't have damn like they have big men in like Zubac and Plumlee, but I also feel like you should have been playing a little bit better than them. And there was times where there was no other big men, and he was sort of taking advantage, but not fully. And I feel like that's sort of a problem when you actually go against somebody like Jokic, who makes everything you do exhausting, because he's there for every rebound. He's pushing the ball up where you have to constantly run after him. He can shoot threes and go at you in the midi and also back you down. And I just feel like all that's going to do is tire Aiden out, to where are you going to have enough to even try to, are you going to have enough to have 10 and like 10 against this dude? So that's going to be a hard matchup. I imagine that they'll probably try to throw Gordon on KD, just because he probably the only one that has the length and also the defense prowess to at least make him tired. And I was like, I don't think they'll match up like that on the other end. But yeah, because I feel like because Craig probably will match up against one of them. But that's who I feel like the matchup is going to be, just because that way Porter can focus more on offense instead of having to worry about guarding KD on the other end, even though that they sort of at the same spot and their same length and all that other stuff. I imagine Craig might match up on Porter, make sure he don't get off on the threes. Who's hadn't been like had to put a whole set in this series in the last series of like good scoring outs. He's had I think he believed he had like two good games. I think he had one really good game, and one game he brought them. I think he was the only one scoring and was able to bring them back. But he also make timely shots too, and go into the basket at times to where even though he had a good game, they need a score and a point. And he's not afraid to at least shoot. I'll give you that part. Um, I feel like I feel like that's a matchup to watch out for. It also KD hadn't been playing. I mean, this last game that probably I feel like one of his better games of the series against the Clippers, but he hadn't been aggressive enough and he hadn't fully taken over and been KD mode. Um, but boy, had Booker been get on my back. We over here scoring, we over here getting these buckets, and I can't. I was like, I feel like that's going to be a lot of KCP, Bruce Brown thrown at him, and we're going to see how that goes. Um, and I guess depending on who's on that night between Booker and KD, you might throw Aaron Gordon out there as well too. Um, Now the difference is, unlike the Clippers, is that you got that boy Murray on the other side that's scoring at that same type of rate and doesn't sound like he can miss either. And that's where I'm like, with this series, even though the star talent, and I was like, there's Chris Paul, but you're not expecting like 20 and like 15 on Chris Paul. Like, yes, he'll do. There'll be a game he'll do it or two, but it's not something you expect consistently. Like, some nights it's gonna be 10, some nights it's gonna be 6, but he'll have like 12 uh, assists and like 6 board. Like, he'll mix it up. You're just not expecting a great scoring output. He'll do it in a couple games, or if he explodes in a matchup, he'll do it. But the way Murray is playing, I feel like it's just that's where it's a star versus like you're like the Nuggets, but Murray can score like Booker. It might not sound like it just because of who we just think of our head, but if you watch how they play really similar. Uh, I was like, I think Booker got a pure jump shot, but I think Murray plays a lot better in the flow of like his flow state. I feel like is a lot different than Booker's, but I feel like you got those two that are offset. Um, for the even though they don't necessarily match up, if we're just talking about trying to figure out points match up. I was like, Murray and Booker should match up. Then you have Jokic and KD. That's where that matchup should be. And then you look at Aiden and you look at Porter, and that's where that matchup should be. So then that's when you got to look at a mix of Gordon and the rest of the supporting cast versus CP3, and that's really it. Um, Cam Payne just came back, so Terrence Ross hasn't really been anywhere to really been found. Biombo's not an offensive threat like that, and that's why I feel like I feel like the greatness of the Phoenix Suns of Booker and KD will probably get you 2 games, and you might get a collection of everybody for a 3. But then I can see over here on the Nuggets, and I'm like, Jokic and Murray by themselves could wipe out your whole game plan. But I think this one is 6 or 7. I mean, it's sort of a theme at this point, but you know, because I'm like most games really there really aren't sweeps like that. You pretty much are getting five, 6 games. Had not really too much of a 7, so that's just like law of averages. Um, but with how this team is, I was like I can see 6. Um, I just I like it's really going off of how Phoenix looked against the Clippers that I can't really push for a 7. I was like it look cause I'm like the Nuggets. I was like they're not gonna play as hard as Clippers, but their talent's better than the Clippers. Uh, in this situation, because everybody's healthy, that I think they'll pull it out over Phoenix. But this should be a good series as well. Anyway, if you like this, anything I said for this preview, this matchup, thanks. I appreciate it. And if not, hey, maybe next time, or check out some of our other videos. Other than that, peace. I'm out.